I'm Coach John Zombro with the Lifetime Athlete, and thank you for joining me in today's video. As part of our running performance series over the summer of 2021, this is part 3 of the Gait Analysis mini-series that we've been doing. In part 1, we went over how to capture good video footage so that you can analyze your form. And in part 2, we took a look at some of the components of gait or the running stride and the characteristics which they exhibit and what you might look for when analyzing your own video. Now in part 3 today, we're going to go over some things that I consider maybe not a top 10 list, but a list of 10 things that you can do to enhance your running form. This includes 3 exercises, 3 drills, 3 cues, and 1 practice session, and that's what I'm going to go over in this video today. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The split squat is a great exercise because it uses a fairly running specific position and is therefore having a high degree of transfer and being functional. In this example, I've got a stool behind me, which you can use if your foot's comfortable flexing in that manner. I'm also front loaded with a kettlebell. You can use any type of hold, such as a goblet hold. You can also load from the back side with a sandbag or a barbell, and I've also created a different way to rest the back foot using a foam roller on a weight bench. Some facilities even have specific machines designed to do this, although they're usually a bit lower than this one, which is a tad high for me, but it still works for the exercise, not a problem. I like to recommend performing 2 to 4 sets of 6 to 10 repetitions 2 to 3 times per week with this movement. And it's important to use enough load that you're getting close to failure in your working sets, perhaps having 1 to 2 reps in reserve, and that way you're going to get a great stimulus and get the most out of your strength and mobility and form enhancement gains with this split squat movement. It's also known as the Bulgarian split squat. Now, as we move into the next single leg Romanian deadlift, or RDL, you'll notice that this is a basic hinge pattern coming from the top down, and I am utilizing a kettlebell here. You can use a single hold with a weight implement or a double hold. Also, if you have trouble with your balance, you can hold on to something with one hand and only hold the weight in the other arm. You can experiment with which side you're holding on. You can also lean your elbow up against the wall and let it slide to help you maintain balance. In this example, using the dumbbells, what I'm uncovering is a bit of asymmetry. With that left side, I do not move as smoothly and controlled as I'd like to, or that I do on the right. So that's something I'll be working on as I move along. This single leg RDL is a great exercise for getting some activation in the posterior chain, improving your flexibility, and also the ability to recruit those hamstrings, glutes, and calf muscles most appropriately during your running stride. And as you can see, there are multiple ways to load this, as in the split squat. Here I'm using a barbell, and that's perfectly acceptable and effective if you have it. Again, use your creativity by all means when performing the single leg RDL. Now next up, we've got loaded hops or single leg hops, and I'm doing an alternating pattern of 3 staccato hops on each side, and that helps to build that elasticity through the foot and Achilles tendon and help us to reduce our ground contact times while running. If for any reason you don't care for using a light weight, you can do this unloaded and it still has a very profound training effect. Moving away from these simple exercises, we're getting into drills, and I like to use a couple different drills, skips, lateral shuffles, cariokas, and what I'm going to show you here is a progression of skips. So we start off with a basic skip. I sometimes call that a playground or casual skip. Now we're skipping for height. I'll sometimes blend these things in with gallops or bounds or bleed them into acceleration runs as well. What you're seeing here is skipping for distance, so there's a little more horizontal push in that one. And then we get into the classic moves known as the A skip, which uses an A pattern and a more vertical foot strike. And then we can contrast that with the B skip, which allows the leg to cast out and then pull back on the strike down. Moving away from skips, I like the lateral shuffle. It's great to unlock frontal plane movement and also to loosen up some key muscles in the inner thigh, groin, and glutes. And the lateral shuffle is one where you can alter how much arm motion you're utilizing. You can see from the example, Paul is using quite a bit of arm motion and I'm using less, and it really doesn't matter as long as you're getting that nice movement through the legs and those good foot strikes. Then you've got the carioca or braided gait, also sometimes called grapevine. A great way to work on rotational control and also just to build that coordination and activation into your running body. After we move away from drills and exercises, we're looking at cues. And so that snap or snap down of the foot is an active seeking of the ground with the foot as we run, as opposed to just letting the foot wander in space and wait for the ground to find it. And that active snap of the foot down really helps to improve the rhythm in our running stride. Next up, we're going to take a look at another drill, which I like to call, or not drill, excuse me, another cue called the pop. And so you want your foot to essentially pop off the ground. Once you've struck the ground and transferred energy to the ground and back to your body, staying on the ground only makes you slower. So we want to actively pick up, like a quick pick of the foot. And you'll see that in these athletes as they move across this grass surface. A third cue that I'll often recommend is one that I like to call switching, or to concentrate on the switch of the legs as you're running. So this is where you're really working or focusing upon transferring or having the knees pass each other in the air under the hips. That's the switch. And again, all these things help to lighten up and quicken up and beautify your running stride. Final thing after we've considered exercises, drills, and cues is to put all that together into some practice. And so I like to use gliders. I like to do this on a track or grass surface, mark off about 40 yards, and then have folks run at a comfortable pace, maybe as much as 80% of max speed. But because it's short and they're not going too fast, you can really work on technique and concentrate on making your running stride improved, as opposed to just straining for speed and then not really being able to focus on quality. Another thing that you'll notice here is I was doing all that barefoot on the grass. It's a wonderful way to enhance all this foot and lower extremity function, and doing it with your friends or your training tribe members is the key.
Okay, so there you have it. 10 things that you can do to optimize your running form. By enhancing your mechanics, you can improve your running economy and your running efficiency, and this will improve your performance and possibly reduce your risk of injury. So if you're interested in more things that I offer at the Lifetime Athlete, a number of products and services that can help you to perform at your best in your health and your fitness endeavors, in your training, in your sports, your competition, and racing, by all means, check that out at thelifetimeathlete.com. Thanks again for being with me today, and until next time, this is Coach Jay-Z signing out from The Lifetime Athlete.